Hello, shiny, crafty people. I know some people are coming over from the other video. And so I will see you in a moment. I'm just making sure that I'm on the other video and just typing to people. So if you want to skip ahead a minute or two, if you're watching this in the future, which would make me the past for you, then you should skip ahead a minute or two so we get into it. And it's interesting to see what people are saying. I'm super excited. I'm going to share with you a couple of things I have coming up in terms of videos and some other stuff that I have going. Sue from Buckingham, England, thank you so much for being here. I love when people come from far away from where I am. Just to make sure I'm at the right place. And hopefully people will pop over. I'm just letting people know that we're live Q&Aing right now. So if you have any questions, you want to throw them into the chat, please do. Lori, hello from Crestview. Hey, Lori, so nice to have you here. Kathy, thank you for popping over. It's an interesting feature that YouTube will do, letting me automatically pop people into a live function after they watch a video of mine, which I so super appreciate. I can't believe that video is still going. I'm like, aren't you done talking, Tim, in the past? But whatever. One quick point from that video, I showed off a really fun little cutter from what I thought was Ionic Studios. Turns out it's Tonic Studios. It's the font they use. You can't quite easily tell. And then, of course, the gentleman's name was Tim Holtz, not Jim Holtz. So if you watch that video, that was from my Amazon haul, which is interesting. It's probably a good name from a marketing perspective. Hey, haul. We look at my haul, and people do haul videos on the internet. They'll do like a video of all the stuff they got from, maybe they went to Dollar Tree or somewhere else, and they show you their haul, what they bought. Hi, Carolyn from Toronto, Ohio. Hello, and I should be clear, you're in Toronto, Ohio. And so anyway, Amazon haul was an interesting thing for me. I'd love to hear any of your perspective if anyone has gone to Amazon haul and used it, bought anything from there. I was a little surprised at the fact that that it took 2 or 3 weeks to get some of the stuff, and that some stuff came right away. That was really crazy. Just because it was like, well, why is some of the stuff taking 2 weeks? And I think it probably did ship out of China or somewhere else, which again there's some philosophical / socioeconomic, political, blah blah blah, whatever concerns maybe about doing that. I was a little surprised what my thought was on the value of some of those things that came in. You take a little more of a risk buying some stuff that way in something like that. So we'll see how that goes. Well, I'm going to just sign off on the other video. And once I sign off on that one, I will come back. Yeah. So let's see who we've got. Kathy came over. Maybe they collect all the haul in one place and ship it to you. Yeah, I think so, except I got a couple of items separately. I bought some lids for some ball jars, the kind that you do preserving and stuff in. I ordered those, and that Tim Holtz Tonic Studios cutter blade thing. Those came in 2 days to my house by themselves. And then all the other items came in that big bag that I opened. So it's kind of interesting. Vicky, that little cutter was so great, that little rotary cutter. And I figured out, I thought it was such a great deal on haul. It turns out you can order it on Amazon just by itself. You don't have to go to Amazon haul for that. And it might have been cheaper in some places. Like it wasn't a terribly expensive item. It's $4 to $5 at the most. I was really impressed by that. So this is great because we're live, which means you can ask me as many questions as you want to while we're here. And I'm going to show off a few things that I have been working on. So I'm excited to do that. Hey, Living and Crafting with MS. Hi again. It's funny to me, the way we present ourselves online, in my brain, I didn't see with MS. I just saw Living and Crafting, and in my brain, I just thought in MS, meaning in Mississippi, not living with multiple sclerosis. So I'm so sorry. It's kind of a odd to me. I was like, well, that's pretty interesting that you want to highlight that you're in Mississippi. So the brain does crazy things when we read stuff, doesn't it? Lori, any updates on what Joann is doing? I wish I really had um, some updates on that particularly. I'm not really a news channel, and I've said that before. There was an interesting update. There's a Sewing News Daily or one of those. There's a lady, I think her name is Jen, who does videos, and she's been a little more focusing on the news portion of it. So she was talking about that. Part of what I've been doing, working on some new projects, is going out and finding other places to buy fabric. And so I'm going to go to a couple of Michaels stores. Next week, I'll be in Buffalo and Rochester, New York. And I am going to go into a couple of Michaels stores if they have any them along my trip, just to get some different than the ones that are in my area. And when I say my area, I mean 30 to 40 minutes away from me. So I don't have one really close to me. I got really spoiled with the Joann fabrics. So Donna, you're right. Michaels is taking over a lot of the Joann products. So Michaels, from what I understand, and I'll go through this a little bit again if you haven't watched the other videos, Michaels sort of bought the intellectual property of Joann, which means that what they did was they bought digital assets. They bought the stuff that isn't necessarily physical. So they bought the rights to carry and market products under certain brand names. And they're taking on some of the contracts that Joann's had with some manufacturers to provide certain products to them. So Joann had some, Joann Fabric and Crafts had some very specific the rights to sell certain products, like some certain yarns and some other stuff. And when you have those exclusive rights, basically you've committed to the company that makes those items that you will carry them in your store and put them front and center. Well, since Joann is gone, Michaels bought the rights to have that exclusive agreement. So that one was interesting. They also bought the Joann name and the Joann.com website, which can be quite valuable, like a really well-regarded website name. It can be quite valuable, and you can sell that as an asset. So that was bought as well. And I believe they also bought like their mailing lists and their app and all that other kind of stuff, all the digital kind of parts of it. Vicky asks, do I have a pattern for the beautiful quilt behind me? I do not. I did not make that quilt behind me, although I love the colors because the colors really fit into my design. You can tell from the colors of the stuff and even the shirt that I'm wearing that I really like this sort of bluish, aqua green, bluey kind of color. I don't know how to describe it. I bought that at a quilt store in my community called So Many Things, M-I-N-I. SEWMINI, So Many Things, where the boys are. That's their tagline, because it's run by a couple gentlemen, and they're a great quilt store. They do a good job. They have fantastic stuff. I bought this when they were selling a bunch of their samples off. You know, they had like a big rack, and it was like their every couple of years they do a big sale to get to clean out some of the stuff. And I bought this as one of the samples. So I don't even know where you can buy the fabrics anymore. There's like stamps and books and other stuff there and some maps. And I think I paid less than, I think I might have paid $120 for it, which I think is a really good deal. And I nailed it on the wall because I think it's quite lovely and it goes with the colors in my dining room. So we're in my dining room right now. You can, I'll give you a little turn. The lake is out there and my cat is hanging out quietly. You can even see the colors I like to have on my, this is a runner that I made for my table. And it's got the reds in it and the turquoisey kind of color. So you can see how I've done that. I hope I didn't give anyone a little vertigo there. I did want to talk to you about some projects that I have coming up, which is a lot of fun. Because I've been trying to search out where else you can start buying some of these fabrics, I went to my local quilt store and bought some fabrics to make a quilt. And so I'll be showing that off pretty soon. And I talked about that, I think, in my last live. And I'm also went to Walmart, and I'm going to go to a couple of Walmarts just to verify that you can get at least these same items in several Walmarts. But my video next Saturday, I'm already editing it right now. The video for next Saturday is going to be using Walmart items. So I went to Walmart and bought a 1-yard cut of fabric. I specifically bought a Disney style fabric that is Beauty and the Beast fabric. Pretty Beauty and the Beast fabric. And this is a little zippered bag that I made out of it, which I will do a short video with this, but that's not the video next week. The video next week is going to be for a drawstring backpack. So here's a drawstring backpack that I made for next Saturday. And you'll see that it pulls up and it goes on your back. The difference is I've made drawstring backpacks in the past, plain ones, and I didn't really love them because they have a lot of unfinished portions. It has a lot of unfinished seams, and I don't like unfinished seams. So not only is this completely lined with the material on the inside, but I figured out a system for how to do this opening part because I really do not like that on regular drawstring backpacks. So all of that, if you can see, all of that is actually finished. So there's no raw seams at all in this backpack. Now, the other thing I did, everything's like off backwards, so I have to be careful. The other thing I did is I put a little stitch line on the corner. Do you see that here? That keeps the lining inside so it doesn't pull out if you do this. So I'm going to show you next Saturday how to make this. It might end up being quite a long video. I don't know yet. And this video took a while. This thing took a while to make. I think probably it's a 40-minute project because of the fact that there are no raw seams whatsoever. But to me, it means that I can give somebody a beautiful gift that is really well made compared to sort of typical drawstring backpacks, which are often given away as giveaways or promotions, and they're made kind of cheap. Let's see. Linda says a plus to buying to Michaels buying the Joann stuff is that you don't have to buy 2 yards of fabric when you're ordering online. That will be nice. I don't know. I haven't ordered online yet from Michaels, but a video that I am going to make in the future is about the different experiences of shopping online for fabric. It's interesting. I really want to do mostly tutorials. I think that's my favorite part of doing these is you getting to follow along with me as I figure out how to do something like a drawstring backpack. And I'll tell you, I did not practice the drawstring backpack before I did it. I had made one before that was much different, but I needed to create a very specific way to encapsulate all of those seams at those edges where the cording went through. And so what I knew was that I wanted you just to come along with me and see how it went. The thing about that is there's a smaller audience that wants to sit and watch Tim fumble through mistakes and get to a finished product. But I love when people do come along with that. And I think that's actually really valuable to watch somebody who has maybe more experience than you, but deals with the same kind of issues. Oh gosh, I can't figure out how to make this work. What if I did it this way? What if I did it that way? I think that's really valuable. But the reality is I get a lot of feedback when I do these talking videos where I explain something about, what it's like to go into a specific store or what's happening with Joann fabrics and sharing with you my ideas and thoughts and what my concerns are. The thing is that reaches a wider audience sometimes, but that's not always my goal. So I'm sort of balancing that I need to do tutorials as well as the others to sort of make, to give a lot of interesting, different content and for myself to be excited and interested in doing this. This is not a living. I don't do this as my main vocation. There are people who do, and I'm very happy for them. They have large audiences and they will follow exactly what the audiences tell them they want because that's how they make the most money. And I don't fault any of them for doing that. It is a legitimate business idea and a way to make money. And I know people who are content creators who do this for their entire living. And I'm very pleased for them because they love what they do. I get to sort of do what I enjoy doing and hope that you're willing to go along with me. So I made the video this week, the Amazon haul video, because I was fascinated by this new thing available. And I never actually downloaded the Temu app and tried that before. And so I've watched people use it and talked to friends who love it, but I decided to try the Amazon version because I do a lot of stuff on Amazon. I've been a Prime member since probably when Amazon first started and offered that. I've had it forever. And so I thought, okay, I'll try it. And I'm not really sure how I feel about it still. Now, I will tell you, um, I always thought it was Temu, which I think most people say Temu because we would probably say that in an Americanized version of it. But then they did a big commercial for the Super Bowl this year, and they just kept going, "When you come to Temu," and I was like, "Oh, so it's Temu." Okay, well, now we learned how to say the name properly. Uh, so Judy says, I agree, watching to see a work through. I think that's helpful, actually. It's one of my favorite things to do. This is really bouncing around, but I really, I want to make sure that I give you some good questions and answers. So I want to ask, has anybody else tried Haul? And if so, did you find it valuable? Did you feel like you were mostly going to get cheap stuff, or was it worth the effort, to go through it? Did you get stuck in the gamification? Like, oh, if I add $8 more, I'll get to unlock a new discount or something. It was that was interesting. Donna says you can't touch fabric online, right? That's going to be the worst part, I think, of where we're going in terms of brick and mortar kind of making its way out the door. Temu's fabric was very unsatisfactory, in my humble opinion. You know what? I have yet to order any fabric on Temu. I've ordered some fabrics on Amazon, and it's been hit or miss. Mostly, I ordered prepackaged, pre-cuts. Like I ordered a couple layer cakes, and I ordered some sets of fat quarters. The problem is, for me, the problem is that that one set came in and I couldn't quite tell what the variation of the fabric was going to be, even though it showed every fabric, on the design. But then it gave me some rather, like, some of the fabrics in it were just like, I wouldn't put this in a quilt. It's going to fall apart. Like, some of it was like almost see-through, pretty bad. And then the problem with that becomes, like, once you buy that, if you bought it going, oh, there's 42 pieces, 42 10-inch squares in here, and then you get them and they're not exactly 10 by 10, like they're off. Like, I got a set that was like 9 3/4 by 10. Well, I've created the whole quilt to be 10 by 10 squares. Like, and there's no guarantee that they're even square. That was a problem. Some of the bigger name quilt fabric companies that do pre-cuts and are expensive, like, obviously, if you watch my video from Hancock's of Paducah, they have all of this pre-cut section. But those are, I looked at them, they looked pretty accurate in terms of being properly square or being, the right strips. That's a little different story because, and I think it's also kind of like they have more of a reputation they have to uphold. So if they're charging, I don't know, $40 for a layer cake, they better be good, cut well. Yeah, the $12 stuff at Temu is nice because it's super cheap, but you're going to get garbage too. So I don't know if that's really good. Barbara says you ordered from Temu once, but the products were cheap quality. That's the interesting part. Doing the Amazon haul, I was impressed by how many of them were actually really good products. 8 of them were perfectly fine, but 2 were super disappointing. And then I was talking to my friend Byron. He's a sports and event photographer, and he does big, large scale printing and stuff on a printer that I own, but he and I share it. We share an office space. Barbara says you've lost video. If you just refresh, I think it might help you. I'm assuming everyone else can still see me. So I would probably get a flood of people telling me they couldn't see me if that was the case. But I was talking to my friend Byron, and he said, part of what you're doing is you're buying a lot of cheap stuff, knowing that some of it's going to be terrible. And I thought, yeah, I can see that. Vicky says, I keep losing video. Some ad comes up along the side. I don't know how that's doing. You know what? YouTube does their own stuff sometimes, and I have zero control over whether or not they put any ads on the video, or even if they run it while I'm talking, which is a little crazy. Like, they should run the ads when they replay this, like, because you can watch this video again in the background. So Donna says she's all good there. Bettina Fink says, hey, everyone. Hi, Bettina. Yeah, Barbara, I would suggest maybe just refreshing. If not, I'm not showing anything anymore except just my face, my big round thumb of a head here with the bald head. By the way, if any of you are uh, are sort of like have super thin hair that you're going bald and you've got the ring around, and listen, it's not going to be a lot of my viewers because you're 92% women, but I'm going to tell you what I've told every single man in my life who says, "Oh, I'm going bald." I'm like, "Shave it now. Just do it. Shave it now. Shave it once. See if your head looks good." I wish I had started this 15 years earlier. Judy says, "I know some people got stuff from Temu and it was items that was a version of a high quality company that was the copyright." Yeah, it is really sad to know they do that. It's really rough, actually. And it's one of those balances that I have a difficulty with. I'm like, man, I mean, should I buy this knowing that it's sort of been ripped off or so I don't know. I don't want to buy those things at all, if possible. It's sort of why when I did my video about Purple Thing, when I showed off items under $10, that I really push people to buy the original Purple Thing because there's so many copies of that. Vicky says I just refreshed and you came back. Yay! LW, no ads with YouTube Premium. That's absolutely true. I have YouTube Premium mostly because uh, my friend Byron, who I told you about, is notoriously cheap. Frugal? No, he cheap. He cheap, whatever, in a good way. He literally pays for YouTube Premium, and he doesn't pay for anything. Like he's always looking for a deal, a discount, whatever. And it's smart. I'm happy for him. He likes to win when he does stuff. He pays for YouTube Premium, so I started doing that, and I have been so amazed. Now it's $16.99 a month, or at least it was the last time I think they billed me, and that's a lot of money. And yet I watch YouTube for most of my content. I don't even watch my all the paid streaming services that I have quite as often. Now, other people in my house do. Brad does. My son Jacob does. So we're getting our money's worth. I'm not worried about that. Terry, I pressed the thumbs up. Thank you so much. Everybody who wants to press the thumbs up, it really does help me. Yes, it is a thumbs up reminder, Donna. Thank you for saying that. Interestingly, on YouTube, specifically the algorithm, we've all heard that phrase. If for some reason that's not you understand quite what that means, it's just a bit of computer code that sort of figures out how to push certain ideas to people, right? So if you watch a bunch of videos about survivalism and homesteading and growing your own garden food, and you watch like 5 videos about that, you'll soon find that your homepage on YouTube has a whole lot more videos like that, or videos that are sort of like how to store for the apocalypse, like all those. You'll start getting pushed more and more of those because the algorithm thinks, oh, that's what Tim's into now, right? So you'll get a lot more of those, even from channels you've never heard of before. So what happens is when and they want to push videos that have been liked by other people and watched by other people. So when you watch my videos and you give it a thumbs up or you subscribe to my channel, you're telling YouTube, hey, this is a worthwhile content creator, or this is worthwhile content. And so then they'll push it to people who are looking for something like that. So on my end, I put hashtags and other stuff on the video, and on your end, you click thumbs up and like it. And because you like other kinds of videos that other people kind of like, then it shares like videos with those people. So anyway, Judy says, I never order from them because of that issue with copyright. Absolutely. And I think that's a perfectly valid and honorable way to do that specifically. I also tend to think that I don't need most of these things. There's so many things out there available. For me, I need a ruler and cut it, a pair of scissors and a rotary cutter. I don't even need 5 sizes of rotary cutters, but I have them, but you don't have to have them. And I need a sewing machine and just a few little things. All of the other stuff is just extra. Maybe it makes it easier if you do something over and over and over again. And, I'm sure there are specific things for people who are doing paper crafting. There's some very specific tools that are going to make that so much easier. So for me, it's a seam ripper. Like, these are the things you need. Essential tools. You're going to sew, you need a seam ripper. Preferably a really good, nice one that you like to hold, because no one wants to use a seam ripper. So you might as well have one that you like using when you have to do it. You absolutely need that. Terry, you're so right. An ironing board or an ironing surface. Absolutely. You need an iron of some kind. And it can be almost anything. My favorite iron, I have 2 that I go between in my office, where I have my new sewing setup. So if you watched the video today about my Amazon haul purchases, you'll see my office setup. So that's set up in my actual office building where my office is set up. And it's just a corner of my office space. There I have a small travel iron that I've used for years now. It was a gift from a friend of mine. I love it. And I always put a link to it in the description of the video so people can go find it if they want it as well. It's a great travel. It's great for travel. Fantastic. The other is a big, chunky Sunbeam cordless or retractable cord iron that I've been buying forever. In fact, I need to buy another one just to have it as backup. I'm worried they're going to stop making it. Part of the reason I love it, it's got a huge iron surface, like iron plate, and um, I know where the buttons are. Like they're big buttons for the steam and the spray, right? And it makes a lot of steam, which that's all I want. Whenever I'm doing any kind of pressing, especially I'm usually doing it on quilting cotton, and I want it to be pressed out really well. So I need a seam ripper that you want to use, a good pair of scissors. I have a good pair of scissors. They look like those Guggenheim ones you see all over social media. If you do enough sewing stuff, you'll get ads on your social media for Guggenheim scissors. I don't know what makes them special. They're kind of expensive. So I just bought a really good pair from Amazon, like an Amazon suggested version, but a good pair of scissors, whatever that means for you. And I use big, long scissors. Like I use 10-inch scissors. They're huge, but I have big hands and I like to cut a lot of stuff at once. You can get the smaller ones. It's not going to hurt you. I just want those scissors to go shoom, 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 when they go next to you, when you put it next to your ear, not too close, right? Rulers and rulers. Yes, Barbara, you bought so many rulers that you've seen on your favorite YouTube quilters that you've never used. Yeah, me too. Like I have some. I bought in that Amazon haul video that I just recorded not even a week ago. I got that 60-degree ruler and I was so excited for 60-degree triangles. And then I realized I haven't made 60-degree triangles in maybe ever. Like if I was making some kind of a hexagon quilt that might be useful. What I really wanted was like a half square triangle ruler. And I thought that's what I was buying. It's not going to work for that. So that's fine. It's perfectly fine. I'll use it for something. And maybe as something you would use for like one of the star quilts or something else. So I need a self-healing mat, a cutting board, some kind of at least some kind of straight edge ruler, preferably 8.5 by 24 or maybe a 10 by 10 square, 12 by 12 square. That would work fine. I need a pair of scissors, like I said. I need a sewing machine, white thread, black thread. That's about all I need to do. I have a few clips. I've been sort of using clips a little more often. And of course, definitely some good pins. Thank you, Donna, for reminding me. Donna, the same thing happens. Donna S says, we have the same problem, rulers that we never use, some still in wrappers, but you just had to get it. You know what? So true, except I will say that that's kind of sometimes the fun. Like I have fabric in my stash that I bought, even though I just have never used it because, I'm going to use that at some point. The problem with fabric is, that it's such a fashion-y thing anymore. Not fashion fabric, but it's sort of like fashion. These designers will make a certain fabric and then it goes away in 6 months or a year and you can't find it again. So if it's a fabric you really love and you think, I love that and we'll do something with it in the future, you have to buy it, right? Like, you need to. So Terry says, I did functional covers for a big project and use a fence board straight edge to go 6 feet. Heck yeah. Absolutely. I'll tell you a secret. I go to, we were looking for long rulers for our office, for our workshop where we make all the blankets and quilts for funeral products. And if you didn't know that about me, my main company is called Final Embrace. Final, FINALEMBRACE. You can find us online, super easy. We're the biggest company doing that in the world. And we have a 6-foot wide table that's, I think the biggest one is 16 feet long. And so we go to one of the big hardware stores like Lowe's or Home Depot, and I buy 6-foot long metal measuring whatever rulers, huge ones. They're 2 inches wide, which we love because they're exactly 2 inches wide. So we know that. And we basically put them along the entire 6-foot width of the table. We put clamps in place. Sometimes we clamp them down on top of fabric so you can cut properly. They're so useful. And you just run a rotary cutter right next to them. Let's see, what type of batting that goes into things you make, like for oven mitts and for ironing boards under the cover. So I'm pretty sure, so some people have called that Insulbright, I think is the brand name, Insulbright. Now the thing is, I have had trouble finding that in places. I have been able to use like 100 like cotton batting or wool batting. Here's the problem with anything that's going to come into contact with heat. And that is if you're going to make anything like oven mitts or any of that, you cannot use synthetic materials. They will melt under heat. So it's really dangerous. That's why I haven't done as many, like I haven't done a set of oven mitts and I haven't done as many pot holders as I've done in the past. I've done a few of them in the past, and I'm always a little like, people really have to understand you can't just go get any batting. You can't just be like, oh, I have some polyester batting. Well, that's going to melt with 400 degrees. So you might melt that to your hand, and that would be a terrible thing. And a lot of heat would come through. So you need to buy specific batting for that. I will say that I did have some batting on order that I don't think I got yet, but it's called Wrap and Zap, which is it's a Pellon product and it's designed to make like bags for microwaving potatoes and corn and other stuff. And I'm interested when it finally comes in to figure out whether or not it's anything different than what they normally sell, or if they've just put a new name on it and now they're selling it as a premium thing that, oh, you can use this to make your bags to to microwave a potato inside of. That wouldn't necessarily keep the heat out if you touched it, though, but it is definitely a natural cotton particular product. Let's see. Donna Hoskins says, my son gifted me a serger. You bought rayon polyester flowy fabric. Now you're making caftans, quick and easy. Listen, a serger is amazing. I don't feature a serger on this channel very often for a very specific reason. If you think about it, I'm trying to make things that almost anyone can make with the few tools that they might have. So I don't want to highlight a lot of serger items simply because that's a more specialty niche machine. Most people have access to a sewing machine. And you can buy one of those super cheap at lots of places. There are actually thrift stores. You can go buy a sewing machine. You can get one. Your grandma can hand you one. My grandmother just sent me 5 sewing machines that she wants my sewing machine repair guy at our workshop to look over and see what he can fix. My grandmother's 92. She would like to get at least 3 of them back. I don't know what she's doing with 3 sewing machines. She's 92, although she still sews constantly. She's the one person I'm trying to I look up to and try to be like. So yeah, so I don't do a lot of serger stuff, although I love the fact that you're making caftans. Now, I don't know if you're making them for yourself or other people. Are you going to become like the caftan lady who just wears a caftan everywhere? I think that would be awesome. Terry, when I looked at cotton batting for some inexpensive to make pot holders, I turned old school, cut up terry cloth towels from the thrift store. Absolutely. Why not? You layer a couple of those. I think those can work out really great. Rachel, the serger, which we call overlocker, scares the heck out of me. It is very scary. You have to feel comfortable doing it. And I tell anybody, if you get a serger for the first time, the first thing you need to do is figure out how to thread it properly so that you can fix it when it comes unthreaded, because it's going to. And the odds are, if you don't figure out how to rethread it, you're basically going to have a serger in a box in a closet until you finally give it away or sell it 2 or 5 years later. There you go. But get you some junk fabric and other things and just start going to town. Play with it. See if you mess something up. You're not going to do every part of a project on a serger typically, unless you can alter the project in a specific way because of the way a serger works. Now, most of them cut fabric off with the blade. You can disengage that, but then it makes a whole lot of other issues. You have to basically be sewing on a cut edge. And there are overlockers or there are cover stitch machines that are a little different even. There's a lot of stuff you can do with it. You just have to be ready and practice it. It's one of those things you have to practice, and it's going to make things a lot easier for you if you figure out how to use it, but you don't have to. Let's see. Rachel says, what a sweet yeah, my grandmother's amazing. She's one of the 2 people who taught me how to sew, her and my other grandmother. That's a story I've told many times, but my grandmother is very fortunately still alive. The other grandmother passed away years ago. But my grandmother who's still living, I'm 50 this year. I turned 50 in a couple months. And she is 92, and she's slowed down a little bit. She's not driving anymore, luckily, but she's still driving her sewing machine. Like, she made all of the costumes for the church Christmas drive-through experience this year and last year and the year before, and she'll probably do it this year coming up as well. And she'll say like, oh, well, I have to make, 22 memorial pillows for somebody, or I've got, this or that or the other. It's crazy. So she's a fantastic person. Kathy, I always have the wrong color thread in my serger. I think that's what you mean. You know what? That's where in my workshop, where we have a bunch of machines, we have 5 sewing stations set up for people to use. And they could move between them if they really wanted to, but the reality is they kind of build their own little space and they want to stay in their own little cocoon. But we typically make sure there's a serger threaded with white thread and a serger threaded with black thread. I would certainly match projects if I felt that inclined to, but the idea of having 4 spools of thread in like turquoise just would drive me a little nuts. However, if you use the tie off method on your serger, where you tie threads, you sort of cut at the top at the spools and then put new spools on and just tie those threads together, you can usually pull them through the machine at least up until the needles. Usually the bottom loopers, which do this, remember, you can actually pull right through. The hole's big enough and you can pull a knot through. The needles, quite often you can't. And if you can't, then you just get it to that point, here's the needle, and then the thread stops because the knot won't go through, and then you can just chop it off and push it through. But otherwise, you're not having to. Woo. Donna Hoskins, I'm gifting them. My mom is at an assisted living, and several ladies just need something to cover their arms. Absolutely. I don't know what you said you're gifting. Let me see if I find it. Oh, you're gifting the caftans. Sorry, I'm having 4 conversations at the same time. That's fantastic. How lovely. And those are people who are going to love it in assisted living, especially if you make them kind of stylish and they have a cute caftan they can wear around. Like, I live in Florida in the United States, and I live in the central part of the state. So I'm not even near like ocean breezes or sea breezes or anything. And it is so hot. Like, so Brad went out to run this morning. He's crazy. I said, I have to debut a video this morning. I can't go exercise anywhere. So he went running just around our neighborhood area, and he did 2 miles, and he came back in a different colored shirt. Now, not because he changed shirts. Those sweat soaked so through him that he went out in a light orange shirt and came back in a dark orange safety orange shirt. He was dripping sweat. He probably lost 2 pounds of water while he was out there, and he only did 2 miles. Like, so it's crazy. It's so hot and humid right now. So I'm kind of thinking we should normalize wearing caftans everywhere. Like, like science fiction's always told us that people in the future will wear like a uniform. Like, think about Star Trek. They're all in the same outfit, or Blade Runner, other movies like that, where everyone's in like some kind of jumpsuit thing. Let's just go to caftans. Whole lot easier. If you think about men in certain cultures wear long flowy sort of robes or long sort of big long shirts. Let's do it. Let's make caftans for everybody. I think it'd be awesome. And so tell me, Donna, do you make the caftans where like it's all the way out to the sleeve, like all the way out to the sleeve and goes down, or are they more shaped to a body? I don't know. I think I'd want the big flowy part so you could almost like be like a manta ray as you walked around. Judy, my grandmother is an amazing lady. I kind of wish I could get her on this channel with me and do something. I might actually have her help me sew something so I can show her off and maybe just get that recorded for future generations, because she's definitely the matriarch of our family. She sort of runs the whole place. And we're preparing for what our lives look like after she moves along out of this realm. So, we're not like morbidly thinking about that, but she's 92, and even she's sort of like figuring that out. She's gone through her house and put stickers on everything that needs to go to somebody. And she started now gifting us things that she's like, I'm cleaning stuff out of my house. This is for you. This is for you. That's for you. It's kind of lovely. And also very funny because she's just very practical about it. So she's pretty amazing. Donna says, check out She Sews Seams. That's hard to say. She Sews Seams. She has the perfect tutorial for caftans. I'm definitely going to check it out. I think that's particularly fantastic. Yes, Ms. Joyce 1, you got me live. I just want you to know how much I appreciate you sharing your craft. Oh, thank you so much. That's really nice. I love doing this kind of stuff. It's funny. I tell people like, they'll be like, you have a YouTube channel? Don't you do other stuff? I'm like, yeah, I do a lot of stuff. And it's all stuff I like doing. So I'm going to do it, which is why it's so weird. Like people will be like, well, I thought you were an expert on the architect Frank Lloyd Wright and you travel around the country and talk about him. I do. Absolutely. Something I love doing. In fact, Monday I leave for Buffalo, New York, and I'll be giving a talk that afternoon at the West Seneca Public Library at 6 p.m. So if you're anywhere near the West Seneca Library in Buffalo, south side of Buffalo, come see me, 6 o'clock on Monday, the 16th. I'll be giving a talk there. The next day, I have a talk at the Eggertsville Snyder Public Library at 10:30 in the morning. That's on the sort of east side of Buffalo. I'll be giving that talk. That one's Frank Lloyd Wright Goes to Hollywood. Very cool. Come check me out there. Or then I'll be driving to Rochester. And at 3 o'clock, I give a talk at, I think, the Winton branch of the Rochester Public Library about Frank Lloyd Wright's Falling Water. That's going to be a fantastic talk. That's also free. If you're a member of the Genesee Valley Club, which there aren't a lot of those because it's a very exclusive, pricey, it's a paid club. But if you remember that, you might be one of the 84 people coming to my talk there on Tuesday, the 17th at 6 p.m. I'm going to be giving a talk about the genius of Frank Lloyd Wright, sort of like an intro talk. That's fantastic. And then I have several talks over the next couple of days in Rochester and Buffalo. So that's pretty exciting. It's pretty great. So let's see what we have. Rachel says, my mom did that when she got poorly. She was 77, stickers on everything, so you know who bought them, so you can offer them back. Morbid but practical, absolutely, right? Linda says that she's in Plant City, and the heat is brutal. Oh my goodness, Linda, you are right there in the middle of it. Plant City is here in Florida as well. For those who may not know, it's sort of partway between Tampa and Orlando on the world famous, infamous maybe, I-4 corridor, the Interstate 4. Donna says, I make the robe style with longer short sleeves. I also make open sleeves, drapey, flowy style cover up, just adapted to the yardage as needed. That's code for using my stash. Absolutely. I love it. Most of the projects you can see from me, unless I bought specific fabric for it, is like me just going to the stash and saying, what would look good to make this? Right. Linda, you're so right. I don't understand why people here wear sweaters or hoodies in the summer. Actually, you know what? No, Linda, don't worry. I understood what you meant because when I type here, it doesn't do any autocorrect. I don't know why. I'm like, please, I'm so used to my phone autocorrecting everything. So, yeah. Or it weirdly corrects to the wrong thing. People who wear sweaters or hoodies in the summer, I don't get it either. Like people walk out the door in big old thick stuff in the summer. I'm like, what are you doing? Yeah, I'm also surprised not to find overheated people pass that ever. Can you believe it? My favorite thing is to go to a theme park in the summer and see the tourists who come from very cool areas, or my friends. I have lots of family. I have a number of family members from the United Kingdom, and some of them are the whitest, clearest people I've ever seen, and they don't get a lot of heavy sun, that's what the climate like is where they live. But then they come here to Florida and I'm like trying to slather them with, SPF 200 because I'm like, you're going to become a lobster by the end of the day. And they'll go to a theme park and they're like, oh, I'm a little overheated. And we look at them at the end of the day and they're like, they look like a cartoon character where the top's ready to blow off and steam's going to come flying out. It's pretty crazy. Karen, my keyboard will not let me finish. You know what? Part of it too is you can't type too much. That's one of the things I found. Like if you type a lot, I don't know why. So don't worry. You're welcome to type as much as you want. Judy, my mother sewn everything we wore when we were young. Yeah, right. Wasn't that a huge thing for a long time? Like that's going completely away. Not the least of which because Joann, it was probably the last nationwide apparel fabric offering. I don't know where else people are going to get that apparel fabric. There is a little bit at Hobby Lobby, but they're not necessarily all nationwide either. So I did go into a Hobby Lobby last week for just a minute, just to get a little bit of the lay of the land before I'm going to make some videos about Hobby Lobby specifically. And once I made my way through all of the signage that said the same typical, like I don't know why please don't take this the wrong way. If you have this in your house, please don't come for me. I'm just making a joke here, but I think we all know that the washer and dryer means you're in a laundry room. I don't need signs that say laundry or wash, dry, stack, repeat, whatever. Like, I don't know why we need to highlight those, but people do. They buy them all. So whatever. But I started making my way all past all of the annoying signage that I just find pointless. I did find the fabric section, and they did have some apparel fabric, but mostly like costume apparel fabric. I found that quite interesting. Or if I wanted to make a rather unusual prom dress, I could probably get there. Let's say fabric is so expensive. It is. And that's probably also going to the issue, Judy, of um, why we used to sew a lot of things and now not so much anymore. Um, some hoodie fabrics draw or do the sweat from your body. That's quite possible. There are fabrics that do that. I'm wearing a moisture wicking fabric shirt right now, but I'm talking about people like wearing full on big old heavy, like whatever jersey, thick knit jersey, whatever. Yeah. Rachel, I'm that person. Son and me do not get along in the UK. You still get heat stroke. Everything was like, how? Factor 50 all day long. Yeah, please make sure you do it. Like, you need sunscreen is super important. And too many people in my family, because we're from Florida and I've lived here my whole life. I was born and raised here in Florida, one of the 8 people that's actually a native. Um, too many people in my family have said, wow, I went to the dermatologist and they said I have a skin cancer. Well, I wonder why. We've been out in the sun without anything. Karen, starting again, I started a photo grouping of my jewelry to be passed on to my granddaughters. Absolutely. Yes. And do the same thing with your sewing machines. Absolutely. You should completely do that. I think that's so valuable. Make it so it's not difficult for anyone to know what the value of anything particularly is, or what's important to them. And also, I think you should ask them. I'm in the funeral business for my main business, and there was a new company that started just 2 or 3 years ago, and I think their name is Nemu, Nemu. And what they do is they allow a family, or even you beforehand, to put into their proprietary app system for phones or whatever, or computer, all of the family assets of a person. Let's say grandma died and she has all this stuff. You can put in all the assets of things that are available for the family to split up, because it was never made a plan in advance. And then it allows individual users, members of that family, to go in and sort of say which items they really would like. Like, I really want grandma's sewing machine. I really want, this jewelry or that or whatever. Or, gosh, my number one priority is dad's car. And then the system will then use the power of computing to say, hey, these are the value of these items. So this person's supposed to get 10%, and that person's supposed to get 20%, and this person's supposed to whatever. It can figure that out, like it can be told that in advance. And then it will literally offer up solutions like, hey, these 2 people want this particular item, but this person also wants these 2 items. They're similar in value. One should get this, the other 2 get that. It was quite interesting. Anyway, that's just I don't have any idea if it's working, how they're doing with it. But Judy says, my mother made her patterns out of newspapers. That's interesting. I wonder is that strong enough? Like, did she layer quite a few of them? I bought a big roll of craft paper, which is not necessarily paper for making crafts with, although we can, but it's actually the name of the person who created that kind of paper or whatever. It's a description of a kind of paper, that big dark brown or brown sort of thicker paper. And I have a big roll of it in my office, and we use that for all kinds of stuff. I even used that when I was moving into a new office and I had a gigantic laser engraver that was like 8 feet by 12 feet. And tables and stuff. I cut all of the sizing of all of the pieces of furniture that needed to fit into the building out of craft paper. So like the floor blueprint of what it would look like. I cut them all out of this craft paper, had to tape some pieces together, and then wrote on them what they were. And we were able to go into this empty shell of an office space and put them all out on the floor and figure out, did I have enough room to walk around these particular shelves or this table? And it was so useful. It was just crazy useful to be able to have these big pieces that we can move around. And then, of course, I saved them because we moved 3 years later and I needed to do it again. And it worked out really, really well. Let's see what I missed. My daughter takes and wears a hoodie everywhere for the frequent showers we've been having. She gets wet and starts getting cold. I can see that. Absolutely. I don't have an issue with people carrying stuff. And I mean, I have friends who, carry a blanket to the movie theater. And I'm like, are you here to sleep or are you here to watch the movie? But they get really cold. So whatever, I'm fine with that. Vicky started giving her jewelry to her daughters, granddaughters, and daughter-in-law. There you go. And your great-granddaughter will end up with your embroidery machine. Well, I hope so, because that thing's probably worth thousands and thousands of dollars. Has anyone else had this? I bought most of my machines years ago. like, and we keep our machines maintained. So I'm sewing almost always myself on a Janome 1600P, which is basically a straight stitch semi-industrial quilting machine that you can do some quilting and stuff with. So it doesn't have all the extra bells and whistles and the zigzags, but it was $1,000 machine when I bought it some years ago. I get emails from a couple different sewing companies, telling you, hey, buy this, buy that. Oh, we're doing employee pricing on Janome machines. This one's only $3,600. $3,000? Like, of course I need to buy my clothes from Shine or Sheen or whatever they call it, and H&M and Old Navy, because I can't afford to make it. Holy cow! If a machine costs that much, I thought that was absolutely crazy. Let's see. Rachel, you keep getting adverts that cut me off. Well, that's annoying. I'm so sorry. That's terrible. Newspapers work, although it doesn't flow and bend like tissue paper. I usually do get white tissue paper for Christmas. Right now, I'm using a big roll of some type of white bulletin board paper. I don't make a lot of patterns myself. That's something I've had people asking me about patterns, and I'm just not making anything with patterns very often. And I need to do a little more of that. But really, a lot of times patterns are about quilts, are not about quilts, they're about clothes. And I just don't make a lot of clothes. I'm afraid that's one of those skills that's going away. And I wish I could help continue it. The things that I am interested in, though, is that I don't think clothes are as easy as the stuff that that I would normally want to show people on this channel. So I haven't been doing a lot of that pattern stuff. That's what happens. Let's see. Single layer newspaper, Judy says, and they lasted for years. So I guess that really worked. Maybe the newspaper was the newsprint paper is getting thinner now too. I've noticed that last time I actually held a newspaper in my hand, which unfortunately is not very often, it was kind of thin. So I think some papers are even going thinner on their paper. Let's see. Karen says my Elna SU was about $700 in the mid 70s. Yes, you are an elder here. Listen, it's your favorite machine. No worries. And no worries, Karen. You are, you might be an elder here, but I'm going to tell you what, I can see from my YouTube backend software that they give us access to, our YouTube Studio and YouTube creator stuff. I can see what the my typical user looks like. This is what YouTube Studio kind of looks like. There's an app for that. And it tells me, like, so far my video for Amazon Haul has had 353 views. It's one of, can you see it? One of 10 of my last 10 videos is doing the best at this moment for how long it's been out, which, is the kind of thing that would drive people to say, oh, I should make more videos like that. Although it doesn't really drive me to do that. It's gotten some decent comments, a bunch of comments, so that I can see all the comments and reply and answer to them. It even offers me some AI sort of responses. I'm glad that works for you! Exclamation point. Interesting. There's analytics, there's all the different stuff. Like, yeah, it's pretty crazy. So that video, 1 out of 10, this shows you what it looks like opposed to the last other of it. So in the first hour and 13 minutes, it's got 353 views. And that shows you how the other ones did for that same amount of time over time, right? So I can look at all my other videos, which is quite interesting. But the deal is, it doesn't really, if I went to like 10 hours into it, my most recent Joann video, Joann Fabrics is really gone, or is it ? That would be way higher. So this is not going to be like that video. People aren't necessarily searching for that sort of live, news sort of thing. So I'm not worried about that. It's just the way it goes. Judy says your mom never printed her. She laid them out on her bed and placed the kitchen knives just like the bread and butter knives on the fabric and cut it out. Yeah, you need weights to hold it down. I think that's quite interesting. Karen, you have a dance recital today and you're watching that one later. Karen, are you dancing or are you going to see a dance recital of other people dancing? I really want it to be you dancing. I think that would be a lot of fun. Donna says, I appreciate the friendly connections and feeling of visiting with a friend with the same interests. I love that. I do too. I really do. That's one of the reasons I keep doing this. I have people say to me, why are you still making videos on YouTube? Like, is that going to be, you have to take time out every week? Well, I don't take that much time out, first of all. Like, it's not a lot of time. Secondly, I I really enjoy it. I really love when I put out a video and somebody goes, that was ingenious or interesting or different, or thank you for showing me that, or hey, I tried making that the rice filled bags that you made to heat up in the microwave and go on people's necks. And oh, my family loved those for Christmas. Like the idea that people are out there taking something that I showed them how to do and replicating it for other people, that makes me so happy. Karen, I'm so happy. You are an adult tap dancer. I love it. I love it. I love it. In fact, one of the reasons that I'm going to Rochester, New York this next week is because my friend, Miss Jane Ellen Parker, is the owner of a Frank Lloyd Wright house, a very nice and beautiful, famous Frank Lloyd Wright house in Rochester, New York. It's private. She and her husband own that together. They restored it, and they restored it to a level that it's meant to last another 100 years. So they did not cut corners. They did an amazing job with this house, and it has the best dining room of any house I've ever been in. Gorgeous, beautiful. There's all of this art glass in the ceiling and in the windows, and the light pours through. So gorgeous. I think there's 6,000 individual tiny pieces of glass all put together into these art glass windows. Some people call them leaded windows or stained glass windows. They're really not. They use a special kind of zinc caming in between. Doesn't really matter the specifics. It is all geometric designs in these windows. Anyway, she owns this amazing, amazing house. And then I think she turned 80 this year, and she's still a competitive ballroom dancer. A ballroom dancer. I'm like, yes, keep it going. Unbelievably amazing. So, Karen, I'm so excited for you. You're an adult tap dancer. I say, keep that up. I love it so much. Terry says, I have some pattern weights, but still turn to the pantry canned goods. Yeah, 5 pounds of sugar. Works too. Absolutely. Judy, it's interesting to learn about these videos. It is fascinating when you think about all the stuff that goes on. My dear friend, Matthew Bounds, is online as your barefoot neighbor. So if you ever seen a guy in glasses who's throwing some junk in a crock pot and teaching you how to cook stuff in just a couple minutes a day, he's called your barefoot neighbor. He's on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, everywhere. He's got millions of subscribers, and he's got a great personality. He doesn't take any prisoners. He's an unbelievable dude. I coached him for his TEDx talk last year in 2024. And he and his husband, CJ, have become really great friends of ours since then. And it is amazing when I talk to him about what the power that you can get from an audience that watches. Kathy, you love that guy. He's so good. And let me just tell you, he's that in person as well. So and he's extremely generous, unbelievably generous. He worked for a long time in service industry jobs. So whenever we go to dinner or other places with him, he makes sure to really treat the wait staff really, really well. Like, I'm always like, dude, I've never tipped 100% on a bill. But he's like, you know what? I make really good money off of the internet and I'm going to treat people that are amazing to me and do really well. And he really loves those people. And he uses the power of his group to help some very worthy causes. So I'm always excited to see how he helps the local homeless shelters or the food pantries or the groups that help kids in need in his area. So if you don't know about him, you should definitely check out Your Barefoot Neighbor, because he does great stuff and he makes really tasty food, really good food. He's put out a couple cookbooks too. He's got another one coming soon. So you should check him out. All right. Well, I have spent an hour on this live and I need to do a few things. I think we're going to go see a movie today. Before I leave town, we'll go see a movie and do a few other things. So I'm sure that Brad, who was outside in the sun, not only did he run and he messed with plants outside, but then he laid out in the sun to get a tan. Questionable, potentially. He came inside a little while ago to get cooled down and ready for lunch. I'm going to cook us something for lunch, and then we're going to go see a movie. So I'm going to have a great weekend. I hope you are too. And thank you for following me. Rachel says, Brad, come in, man. He did come in and he was dripping sweat. So, I mean, he came in another side door and went to the bedroom. I think he's probably in the shower right now, which is, please clean off so you can get yourself ready. And then we'll go enjoy ourselves. I hope you have a great one. Everybody have a great weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Enjoy next week. If I do see you anywhere in Rochester or Buffalo, if you happen to come to any of those events, please come say hello. Like, make sure I know you're there and that you watch my YouTube videos. I love to connect with people. It would be wonderful. So Rachel, thank you so much. Kathy, great. Vicky, enjoy yourselves. Barbara, take care. Everybody else who's been watching, thank you so much for joining me. And I will see you next week. I'm not going to do a live Q&A next week, but what I am going to do is run that video about the drawstring backpack. So that video will come out next Saturday, and you'll get to see all of the process it takes to make this pretty backpack that I'm gifting to a friend of mine who is a big Disney fan, and it's her birthday next weekend. So I'm going to make the video, put it out, and then I'll be hanging out and celebrating with her birthday Saturday. So I'll be handing this off to her for that. Okay, y'all have a great weekend. Bye. End the stream, and now click end. Bye.